The latest reverie held in One Piece has sent shockwaves throughout the world, and the consequences of this gathering have shaken the very foundation of the One Piece world. This year's reverie was full of major incidents, and even saw a war break out within the Holy Land of Mariejoy as well. Among all the drama and chaos atop the Red Line in the Holy Land of Mariejoy, there was also the curious case of the death of King Cobra. Cobra is a figure that the fans are very well familiar with and have a soft spot for, especially after the events of Alabasta. His death remained a mystery until now, however. The reason for his assassination has finally been explained in the latest chapter of One Piece. Who is King Cobra? King Cobra was introduced to the fans during the Alabasta saga of One Piece. He was revealed to be the monarch of the land of Alabasta, and fans met him when his country was in a state of great turmoil. One of the 7 warlords of the sea, Crocodile, was running riot in Alabasta from behind the scenes, and the one who took the blame for everything was none other than Cobra himself. The people blamed him for stealing their reign away, and the entire country was on the brink of civil war. This is precisely where Vivi came into play, as she infiltrated Baroque Works, the organization led by the warlord of the sea, Sir Crocodile. There, she met the Straw Hat Pirates and brought them along with her to her country. Eventually, the Straw Hats defeated Crocodile and Alabasta was returned to its former glory. King Cobra was central to this entire arc, and, throughout it, fans were shown how incredibly devoted he was to his people, and how truly just and thoughtful he was. There are very few rulers within the world of One Piece who can be called truly worthy of being kings, and Cobra was certainly one of them. In fact, even Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, thought that Cobra was one of a kind leader, and that the devotion he showed to his people was unmatched. Cobra even harbored the Straw Hat Pirates and treated them to a feast of heroes. Cobra at the reverie. After the conclusion of the Alabasta arc, fans barely saw Cobra pop up in the story again. However, much of this changed during the reverie arc. As soon as the Dressrosa arc of One Piece wrapped up, preparations for the reverie were shown from all over the world. Fans got a glimpse of King Cobra once again, and he decided that this year's reverie would be extremely important for him and his country of Alabasta. Once Whole Cake Island wrapped up, the journey from Alabasta to the Holy Land of Mariejoy commenced, and there, Cobra revealed that he had some very interesting questions for the 5 elders. Cobra wanted to discuss the previous kings of the land of Alabasta, among other mysteries, with the elders. At the reverie, Cobra took a very important role. He was the primary reason, along with King Riku, for the abolition of the warlord system. Cobra had first-hand experience when it came to letting the warlords do whatever they liked. His country was ravaged by Sir Crocodile, just as Dressrosa was ravaged by Don Quixote da Flamingo. Thanks to him, Riku, and Fujitora, a vote was taken, and the result was the abolition of the warlord system. This in itself was incredibly huge for Cobra at the reverie. However, his true goal was what came after: Cobra and the 5 elders. Cobra's true goal at the reverie was meeting with the 5 elders, and he successfully got an audience with them. However, his royal guards, Pell and Shaka, were not allowed. Instead, they were commanded to guard Princess Vivi. Once he had an audience with the 5 elders, Cobra mentioned that he had studied the ancient texts of his country and scoured through them, dating back years upon years. Cobra found out that long ago, shortly after the formation of the world government, the 20 rulers laid their weapons in front of the empty throne to signify their equality. They also did this to show that the world had no true ruler, and that they were all equal. The land of Alabasta, which is allied with the world government, was also a part of the founding 20, who were responsible for fighting against the ancient kingdom and establishing the world government. The vast majority of the families decided to move to Mariejoy and live their lives as celestial dragons. They went on to assign new royal families for their kingdoms and had their records erased so as to ensure a smooth transition in power. However, there was one monarch who did not want to become a celestial dragon and instead returned to their country to continue their duty to the people. This person was none other than Queen Lily, the Queen of Alabasta at the time. Lily decided that her country needed her, and instead of taking up the role of a celestial dragon, she descended from Mariejoy back to her land. However, after this point, all records of Lily's rule disappear. Instead, it was revealed that her brother took up the position of the monarch of Alabasta instead. This led Cobra to the conclusion that Queen Lily faced an accident on her way back home. The reason why he demanded an audience with the 5 elders was precisely this. He wanted to know what happened to Queen Lily long ago. Sadly, the 5 elders feigned ignorance and didn't give him any answers. The reason for Cobra's assassination. Cobra then went on to ask the 5 elders about the people of the D. According to him, Queen Lily had penned down a letter that is passed within the royal family of Alabasta from one generation to another. This letter has something to do with the people of the D, and thus Cobra was curious about it. This question obviously shocked the 5 elders and ensured that he incurred their wrath. Much to the surprise of Cobra, Imu, the sovereign of the world, entered the fray and showed themselves in front of him. Imu sat upon the throne and mentioned Queen Lily's name, which indicates that they know what happened to her. Fans were previously confused as to why King Cobra was targeted by the 5 elders. However, with all these revelations, it is quite easy to see why he was assassinated. The very first reason is that the Nefertari family is considered to be a traitor by the 5 elders, as they did not become celestial dragons 800 years ago when the world government was formed. The second reason is that King Cobra knows way too much about the past pertaining to Queen Lily and her mysterious demise. What's more, he is curious about the forbidden information related to the people of the D. This information is enough to get a country wiped out from the face of the earth, and, as such, it only gave the 5 elders the fuel that they needed to kill him off. The biggest reason of all, however, is the fact that King Cobra sought Imu, the sovereign of the world. No person who knows about the identity of Imu can live, and the moment Imu showed themselves before Cobra, his death was essentially signed. Cobra isn't dead just yet, and he will likely die after Imu reveals the truth about Queen Lily to him. Sabo will instead be framed for his murder, and the sparks of rebellion will spread even further. While Cobra is dead, his death will only lead to the downfall of the world government, and thus, it won't be in vain. And in other news, One Piece chapter 1083 confirms the death of a celestial dragon. It has been several weeks since the Straw Hats were in the spotlight, and normally, One Piece fans would have missed them, but the quality of the recent chapters hasn't given them much to complain about. One Piece chapter 1083, like the previous one, focused on the events taking place in Mariajoy. In chapter 1083, the spotlight was mainly on Nefertari Cobra and the 5 elders. The ruler of Alabasta wanted to meet the people who were at the very top of the world government. Cobra went to the 5 elders seeking answers to his questions about his ancestor and the mystery behind the letter. The 5 elders did not give him any useful answers as expected, but Cobra did end up seeing Imu on the empty throne. While they were busy picking up their jaws from the floor, Shirahoshi was captured by Bartholomew Kuma on Charlo's orders, saving Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi is the daughter of King Neptune. Normally, she wouldn't have traveled with her family to the reverie, but her outlook drastically changed after meeting Luffy, so she decided to see the world for herself. Shirahoshi's experience in Mariajoy was highly unpleasant. Saint Charlos tried to enslave her, and no one dared to stop him. Luckily for Shirahoshi, Miasgard was present in the vicinity and took care of Charlos. However, the celestial dragon was persistent, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. In chapter 1083, it was revealed that Charlos finally managed to put Shirahoshi in chains with the help of Bartholomew Kuma. Since Kuma lost all sentience, he had become the slave of Charlos. He was programmed to obey Charlos' orders. The people in the vicinity were scared to do anything because Charlos was a celestial dragon, and because Shirahoshi had rejected all of them. Fukaboshi and his 2 brothers tried to stop Kuma, but Miasgard stopped them. Fukaboshi was bewildered after the celestial dragon ordered him to step back and let Sai and Leo take charge. Miasgard made Fukaboshi understand that attacking Charlos would cause problems for Fishman Island. As a prince of a kingdom, he had certain responsibilities, and his people could end up taking the brunt of his actions. Sai and Leo, however, did not have any such responsibilities. The comeuppance. While Fukaboshi continued to argue with Miasgard, Sai and Leo unleashed a devastating strike on Charlos. The power of their attack was enough to kill the celestial dragon. All the onlookers confirmed that Charlos was dead. Saint Rosward's reaction further proved that Charlos was indeed dead. Considering a celestial dragon had been killed, the Marines would not let the perpetrators off so easily. When Luffy punched Charlos, Kizaru arrived on the scene with several ships. So, it is fair to assume that things will be a lot worse this time. There is no denying that Charlos' father would want to seek revenge for what Sai and Leo Leo did to his son. He will try everything in his power to ensure that they are punished. Mayhem in Mariejoy. Even before Charlo's death, there was plenty of chaos in Mariejoy, and most of it was caused by the Revolutionary Army. Sabo's group went to the Holy Land in order to complete 3 objectives. These were destroying the symbol of the Celestial Dragons, freeing Kuma and other slaves, and destroying the food supplies. Out of the 3, they easily completed 2, with Kuma's rescue being the only remaining objective. In Chapter 1083, Morley successfully retrieved Kuma, while Sabo stole the keys to his collar. After handing the keys to Karasu, Sabo ordered him and the rest of the revolutionaries to go back to headquarters once Kuma and the slaves were free. Sabo opted to remain in Mariejoy to complete some other business. While running with Bonnie, Sabo overheard the guards talking about the lost chamber. According to the guards, anyone who saw it ended up going missing. This particular piece of information attracted Sabo's attention, and it seems that the lost chamber is his destination. This would explain how he came to know about what happened to Cobra and the secret of the world government. It will be interesting to see what happens to Sai and Leo. Even though Miasgard said he would claim full responsibility, the death of the Celestial Dragon won't be so easily overlooked, especially when Roseward saw his son die. The best Miasgard can do is buy Sai, Leo, and the entourage from Fishman Island some time to get away from Mariejoy before the Marines or the Holy Knights take action against them. The next chapters will put Vivi and Wapple in the spotlight. The 2 characters were last seen together on Morgan's ship, which is extremely odd considering they were not on good terms. When Vivi began to talk loudly, Wapple scolded her and asked her to keep her voice down, as the world government might find them. This strongly implies that Vivi and Wapple saw something that they shouldn't have seen, which is hardly surprising considering the world government executes most people for the same reason. Cobra's death was the biggest news to come out of Mariejoy, and it is evident that the world government didn't want anyone to know the truth, so they would want to eliminate all witnesses, including Vivi and Wapple. In any case, the next chapters of One Piece have a lot of promise, and it's up to Oda whether he can deliver or not. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.